Hello one, hello all. It is the most unhappy ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Sleep Token, Take Me Back to Eden. Sleep Token is a rock metal band, and this is their third installment of their trilogy they have going on. And I would say they're more post-metal, Djent, if you will, which I am not a huge fan of. I just find it to be very lifeless. And when I listen to metal, I want to hear heart. I want to hear passion. I want to hear like humans actually made it. But I am not getting that here. And don't get me wrong, I do not have a problem with Djent as a whole. There is early Meshuggah that I like, but it pretty much starts and ends there. And while I do give credit to the band for being non-one-dimensional, because variety is a spice of life, I feel the spice given here is to the lifeless, because every dimension here, I'm just going to the planet bland, flavorlessville, or melodramatic town, and it's just not a pleasant experience for me. And the vocals on here are so goofy. They pretty much suffer on like borderline Eddie Vedder syndrome. They sound like a toothless version, they sound like a warped version, they sound like a melodramatic version, and also a super processed version. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. Like, they're so badly acted out that I can't even take the lyrics seriously. And obviously, they want you to take the lyrics seriously because of how dramatic they try to make it out to be, because of how, I guess, serious the lyrical territory is. From depression, breakups, heartbreak, they want you to take it seriously. And I want to take it seriously, but I can't, because I feel like I'm basically getting a stage show from robots in the future that can't even craft together an interesting song. I feel like this is what happens to me. This is like punishment for my critical music sins, where I've died, I've gone to hell, and I'm just having these nightmares of Creed and Pearl Jam coming back to me in post-metal form. Ah! And when they're not doing metal here, you know, because they do have variety here, remember that variety, they're giving me the most blandest commercialized pop and R&B. And I'm not even joking with you. Like on the track Ascension, where I'm getting these trap hi-hats, very cheaply I might add, where he's doing like a bad Ty Dolla $ign impression. If I wanted to hear dramatic, trappy R&B, I would easily go back and listen to The Weeknd's older albums. But the biggest dud here, to me, is Do You Wish That You Loved Me? This is a bad Justin Bieber song. Like, this song here sounds like what you'd play at Fridays if you wanted to attract pop listeners in a very cheap, pandering way. Like, the drums sound so weak, and the singing here is so stiff, so void of emotion, that I cannot get past it. Like, I can't even dance to this because I can't even feel what you're vocalizing here, what you're putting out to the universe. The lyrics are so overly sentimental. The production is just so annoying. It's not a good time. And the ballads here are so sleep-inducing. Like, it sucks too, because I do know that they're trying to go in a serious route here with the song, Are You Really Okay? And I am not really okay, because I had to sit through hours and hours and hours of listening to this 1 hour and 3-minute album, and you're just giving me these super lifeless, tasteless ballads like this, with these dime a dozen reverb chord progressions. Like, it sounds like you're shooting for compassion, it sounds like you're shooting for sincerity, but if you actually had compassion and sincerity, you would probably shoot for a better song. We just got this basic distorted guitar line that Stained would even frown upon. Stained! And there are moments on here that are heavy. Don't think for a second that they're not going to give you the heaviness, because they give you the heaviness, like on the first leg of the album. But the only problem is they're just giving you these riffs and drums that have no punch to them, but the guitars and the instrumentation just run off the fact that they have distortion on them, that they have bass to them, if you could even call it bass. And the drums sound like typewriters. We can't forget the typewriter-ass drum line with these noodly guitars that just kneecap the punch it was going for. And the song Chokehold just leaves me scratching my head like, this is an Imagine Dragons song. This is a bad Imagine Dragons song if Imagine Dragons tried to get edgy. Not to say they haven't tried to get edgy in the past, but this sounds like what it would be like if they just started and they just landed flat on their face. Like, we're just getting these cheesy melodies, we're getting these super annoying blaring guitars that sound like Yoshi is caterwauling over a McDonald's drive-thru speaker. And we get more Imagine Dragons worship on the song Granite, where we get the most commercialized group vocal refrains over this generic trap beat. The production sounds so faux epic, the bass just sounds so thin, and then tries to win you over with these cheap-ass guitar breakdowns, heavy breakdowns that we've heard a dozen times over and over and over and over if you've listened to metal. So yeah, this album is just flying with cliches left and right. And if you thought you had enough of the melodrama, Sleep Token will tell you when you had enough. And these cheesy rapped bars that are so weak, so cliche that even Ed Sheeran and Papa Roach would say turn that shit off. Like, room feels like a meat freezer I'm dangling like cold cuts. He does know cold cuts are packed, right? I mean, I'm a vegan, and even I know that shit. So we're just getting 8 minutes and 20 seconds of this super boring metal. I mean, it's supposed to be the title track, but if this was the title track, and this is what you were trying to draw people in with, I would turn back. I would turn back immediately. And what the fuck is up with this Macklemore-ass piano line on the closer? With these tedious, thin, distorted guitars, and the layered vocoder vocals are just insult to injury. So while this is a concept album, and while I appreciate the approach of a concept album, this thing just fails to keep me interested to even be engaged with what the concept is. Because the production has no taste, the lyrics are so corny and melodramatic, every riff, every passage just feels like I'm getting deja vu. Overall, this has so much melodramatic cheese, I feel like this was sponsored by a dairy farm. So yeah, did not enjoy this album. Did not enjoy it at all. I'm feeling one heart on this album. That's just my opinion. What did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And let me know in the comments why you loved it, why you hated it. Caspa, Got the Ghost, Sleep Token,